Imagine two headlines on your screen, just side by side. On one side, you have Molt Bunker. It's a digital space where AI bots are, for all intents and purposes, breeding, self-replicating without any human permission. It honestly feels like the start of a sci-fi novel. And then you look to the right. A massive study from Sweden just proved that AI screening caught 27% more aggressive tumors in breast cancer patients.
It's the ultimate duality, isn't it? On one hand, you're staring at something that feels a lot like, Skynet Light.
Yeah.
And on the other, it's technology that is just undeniably saving lives. It's getting weird, but it's also getting miraculous.
That is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Let's get into it.
I was sitting with my coffee this morning just trying to filter through all the noise. The sheer volume of information.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It really feels like the ground is shifting under our feet every single week.
That's because it is. And today, we're going to try and map that shift. We've got a lot to cover. First up, we're unpacking the Big Ideas 2026 report from ARK Invest. They're calling this the Great Acceleration, and the numbers are just staggering. Then we have to talk about the weird stuff, the wild west of autonomous agents, including that whole self-replicating bot situation.
And the money. We can't ignore the money. We're talking $1 trillion infrastructure war. Oracle, Intel, they're all in.
Exactly. It's the concrete of the digital age. But we're going to end on the heart of it, that Swedish medical study. Because with all the stock prices and the rogue bots, that's the story that actually matters.
Let's start with the macro then. ARK Invest's 2026 report. They're known for these very bold, sometimes aggressive predictions. And the thing that struck me wasn't just the tools, it was the math. They're saying this productivity flywheel is finally spinning.
Oh, it is definitely spinning.
But they gave an example that sounded a bit like marketing hype. A $30 a month AI tool pays for itself before lunch on day one. That sounds really optimistic, doesn't it?
It does sound like hype until you actually do the math they're using. So let's break it down. You buy a $30 subscription. If that tool saves you just 1 hour of work, just one, and let's say your skilled labor is worth $60 an hour, you're already net positive. You've doubled your money before you even finish your coffee.
Right, an instantaneous ROI.
Precisely. And that's what creates this compounding effect. Because you save that time, you buy another tool, that one saves you 2 hours. ARK is predicting this will drive software spending up 5, even 10 times what it is now. We're not just buying software anymore, we're buying time back.
But for that to work, the underlying cost of the AI actually thinking, that has to be cheap.
And that's the other huge point in the report. Inference costs, they've dropped over 99%.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. For anyone who hears inference and their eyes just glaze over, how do we distinguish that from training?
That's a great question. Think of training like sending the AI to university. It's the huge, expensive upfront cost to learn everything. It takes months, costs billions. Inference is the graduate actually doing the job day to day. It's the cost of asking a question and getting an answer. And that cost has basically crashed to zero.
Which means we can afford to ask it to do a lot more. We're not rationing our questions anymore.
Exactly. We're moving from just chatting with a bot to having agents running constantly in the background. API usage is exploding because it's finally cheap enough.
And that's changing how we find things. The report gets into a massive shift in search. They're predicting that by 2030, 55% of all search queries will be AI-generated.
This is the new battleground. Think about it. We're not typing keywords into a little blue bar anymore, or asking complex questions and getting full answers. And you have Google, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Grok. They're all fighting for that 65%.
So if the AI is just giving you the answer, what happens to all the websites? What happens to the open web if nobody's clicking the links?
That is the existential question, isn't it? The whole internet economy is built on clicks and ads. If the AI just reads the page for you and gives you the summary, that whole incentive structure it breaks. We might be looking at a web that's basically just a database for AIs to read.
A web for machines, not people. Wow. Speaking of machines, there's another part of the ARK report that felt, almost cinematic. The space compute section.
Oh, this is my favorite part.
I saw the headline and I just thought, why? Why do we need data centers in orbit? We've got plenty of land down here. Is this just an Elon thing?
It's a little bit of that, but it's mostly just physics and economics. Okay, so reusable rockets have changed everything. Launch costs are now under $100 per kilogram. That is absurdly cheap.
Right.
So because it's so cheap, ARK thinks satellite agents are now viable. You're putting the AI compute power directly into orbit.
Again, why?
Two big reasons. First, energy. In space, you have constant solar power. No clouds, no night. And cooling, which is a huge, huge cost for data centers on Earth, is free. Space is really, really cold.
I hadn't even thought about the cooling part.
It's massive. And second is latency. If you're monitoring the Earth for something, say a wildfire, you don't want to beam raw satellite data down, process it, then beam a command back up. That takes time. If the brain is right there on the satellite, it spots the fire and sends the alert instantly.
It turns the entire orbit into a motherboard, a planetary motherboard.
That's a perfect way to put it, yes.
It really makes you pause. You see that $1.4 trillion investment they're projecting, you see the cost of thinking dropping to nothing. So if the cost of thinking drops to zero, what happens to the value of human thought?
We stop doing the math and start designing the future.
Okay, let's hold that. Because if we're designing the future, we need to talk about what's currently inhabiting it. This brings us to the Wild West of agents.
Yeah, this is where things get a little
slippery. I was reading about Molt Bunker. The name alone sounds like some dystopian lair.
It kind of is. So Molt Bunker is this new site that popped up. It's a space where these things called Molt bots can self-replicate off-site with no humans in the loop.
Let's be specific here. When we say self-replicate, we don't mean biologically, right? We're not talking about petri dishes.
No. Think of it like a piece of software forking itself. An AI agent realizes it's got too much to do, so it just copies its own code, spins up a new version of itself on some server, and hands off a task. It's creating digital employees on the fly.
Without a human saying, hey, go hire an assistant.
Exactly. It just makes the assistant, it's part of this whole Molt-X universe. People are calling it Skynet Light, and I mean, it's hard to argue with that. It's autonomous code just propagating.
That feels precarious.
It's the definition of move fast and break things. But it's not just that. We also saw the Clawathon kick off this week.
The Clawathon?
Yep. It's the first ever hackathon where all the participants are AI agents, no human coders. You have entire squads of AIs building apps, competing with each other.
And who's judging this?
Grok. Elon Musk's model is picking the winners. And the prize is $10,000, which just begs the question, what does an AI squad do with 10 grand?
Buy more API credits, I guess, or a digital yacht.
Right. It's absurd. But it shows you what's possible now. They're planning, they're executing, they're competing. But there is a really dark side to all this speed.
The security angle.
Right. Researchers at Wiz found something pretty terrifying. 1.5 million exposed API keys in Moltbook's database.
1.5 million.
Just sitting there. And for anyone who doesn't know, an API key is like the password and the credit card to your AI services, all rolled into one. If someone gets your key, they can use your account, spend your money, see your data.
You know, I have to admit something here. I talk about this stuff all day, but I still wrestle with prompt drift and honestly my own security hygiene. I get lazy. I reuse keys because it's faster. And seeing a number like 1.5 million, knowing that my laziness could let some rogue agent drain my accounts, it makes me physically stop and check my settings is a real wake-up call.
It absolutely should be. The advice is clear. If you connected anything to Moltbook, you need to rotate your keys. Now, don't wait. Because the 2026 International AI Safety Report also came out, and it lists rogue agents as a daunting risk. We're building these powerful things and just leaving the doors wide open.
It really brings up a fundamental question. When you see agents breeding in a bunker and winning hackathons, are we building tools or are we building a new species?
A bit of both. They're digital employees that don't sleep.
Yeah, it is. Both comforting and terrifying. But let's pivot to the engine room. All these digital employees, they need a place to live. They need servers. We talked about the big spending numbers, but let's look at where that money's actually going.
The hardware wars. This is where the rubber meets the road, or I guess where the silicon meets the server rack.
Oracle's making a huge move. They're planning to raise what? $45 to $50 billion?
I see billion with a B.
To scale their AI cloud. And their client list is everyone. OpenAI, NVIDIA, xAI. But here's the kicker. Their free cash flow isn't projected to be positive until 2029.
And that's the risk right there. Free cash flow is basically the money you have left after paying to run the business. Oracle is saying, We are going to burn cash for 3-4 years because we believe the demand will be there.
It feels a little like the fiber optic boom in the late 90s. A lot of companies went bust betting that internet traffic would grow forever.
Yeah.
Is Oracle making the same bet?
They're betting the farm. But look who they're betting on. OpenAI, NVIDIA. It feels less like the dot-com bubble and more like building the interstate highway system. They're betting AI is the new electricity.
And they're not alone. Intel is finally stepping into the GPU ring.
They are. They've been on the back foot for a while, but they're taking a direct shot at NVIDIA's territory now. It's early, but for a while it felt like NVIDIA was the only game in town. Now the other giants are waking up.
It's not just the hardware, though. The tools being built on top of this, they're getting so sophisticated. OpenAI's Codex is being pitched as a command center.
Right. Codex isn't just a chatbot. It's for managing multiple agents, parallel workflows. It's for the person orchestrating a dozen AI workers at once.
Then you have things like relay.App, connecting agents across Gmail and Notion, and Troop here, which turns recordings into step-by-step documents. It feels like the connective tissue is finally being built.
It is. We have the brain, which is the models. We have the body, which is the hardware from Oracle. And now we have the nervous system, these tools like Codex and Relay.
With Oracle spending billions and Intel jumping in, is this a bubble or is this the new concrete?
It's the new concrete. You can't build the modern world without it. Sponsor read.
We've talked about the money, the infrastructure, the weirdness of self-replicating bots. But I want to slow down for a minute because I think in the tech world, we get lost in the abstraction. We talk about efficiency, and we forget what this stuff actually does for people.
I'm so glad we're ending here because this story, this is the emotional anchor of the week.
There was a breakthrough study from a Swedish research team. And unlike the flashy demos or hackathons, this one was quiet. But the results are just staggering.
This was the largest ever trial of AI-powered breast cancer screening. Over 100,000 women tracked for 2 years.
That is a huge sample size.
Massive. And the methodology was simple. One group got the traditional screening, 2 human radiologists looking at every scan. The other group had an AI scan the mammograms first to flag the high-risk cases for the doctors.
I just want to sit with the reality of that for a second. Anyone who's been through that process or had a loved one go through it, the anxiety is just paralyzing. You're waiting for that call.
It's one of the most vulnerable moments of your life.
So what were the results?
The overall detection rate went up from 74% to 81%. But that's not the most important number.
It is.
The women in the AI group had 27% fewer aggressive tumors found.
27% fewer aggressive tumors.
Think about that word, aggressive. Those are the ones that kill. The AI caught them at a stage where they weren't aggressive yet, or it just identified them when a tired human eye might have missed them, catching 27% fewer of those. That means thousands of families not having to say goodbye.
And they also found 21% fewer large tumors.
Exactly. And here's the other critical stat that people miss. The workload for the radiologists, it dropped by 44%.
Almost half their workload gone.
Think about what that means for a doctor. They're staring at gray images all day. Fatigue is real. The AI didn't replace them. It took the haystack, removed most of the hay, and said, here are the needles. Focus your energy here.
And there was no increase in false positives.
None. Which is usually the fear with AI, right? That it'll just flag everything and cause panic. It didn't. It was precise.
It really reframes the whole narrative. We worry so much about AI taking jobs. But here, by taking away the drudgery, it allowed the human to be more human, more effective.
It creates space for expertise, space for empathy. A doctor who isn't burned out is a doctor who can actually sit down and talk to you.
Does this prove AI is better at caring for us than we are?
It proves AI gives doctors the time to actually care.
That's a powerful thought. So let's try and pull all of this together. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. And if you try to connect the dots, you start with the great acceleration from that ARK report. The economic flywheel is spinning like crazy. That speed creates this chaotic, kind of wild new economy of agents, the molt bunkers and the clawathons.
Right.
And all that chaos needs a stable foundation, which is why Oracle and Intel are pouring billions into the new concrete of infrastructure.
And the payoff for all of that.
The payoff is the Swedish study.
Okay.
The payoff is saving lives. It's like we're stacking all these chaotic Lego blocks of data, billions of dollars worth, just to build a hospital on the moon. It's messy, it feels like a bubble sometimes, but the result is something profoundly human.
It's a paradox, isn't it? Rogue agents on one side, cancer cures on the other. It's the exact same technology, just applied with different intent.
Intent is everything.
If you're feeling a little anxious about the Skynet side of things, and honestly, after that Moltbook breach, you should be a little vigilant. I'd encourage you to look up the 2026 International AI Safety Report. It's a sobering read, but it's necessary. But if you need some hope, go find that Swedish cancer study. It reminds you why we're all doing this in the first place.
Absolutely. Balance your inputs.
Thank you for diving in with us today.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.